I've got some technicals that you absolutely should be watching for. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and you can see got a bit of sun yesterday on what is famous in my family that we have big foreheads, so big in fact we call them 5 heads. All right, that actually was not a dad joke at all. That's just really what we call it in our family. We have high hairlines, and then we get this look. And my students like to tell me that I have a receding hairline, but I promise it's been up here since I was born, I think. So let's move into the technicals on this. Let's talk about SPY first. You can see we have another rising wedge pattern, a little tiny one here, and we're starting to get some top wicks there, showing that we have some bearish pressure coming in right at about 531, but you can see the bulls are holding a tight line as we sort of trade a little bit sideways as we're deciding market direction. If we go over to the Qs, decent day, having a little bit more of a rip there, a little bit more of a pop, most likely influenced by a lot of strong moves in big tech. Nvidia earnings, by the way, tomorrow's the big day, and so that's really going to decide what we see popping out of this. If Nvidia sells, I think we're going to see the Qs sell pretty hard as well. I think a lot of big tech would follow along with it. If it pops off, then this market is going to pop off. So we're going to be watching the after hours tomorrow. I think we're going to get strongly positive earnings, and I think that the guidance is also going to be pretty darn incredible for Nvidia as well. Moving over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin yesterday, we had the inverse head and shoulders. Well, it broke the neckline and it worked, and then we also formed this little tiny bull flag pattern, and then that also worked out so far. And now we're trying to test out. We actually just made a third point for over here for another trend line. You can see we're starting to hesitate around it. Now, mind you, I still think that we could possibly put in that all-time high coming off of that. And it's also worth checking out Ethereum. When we look at Ethereum, more excitement yesterday coming in about a possible ETF hitting the markets, and you can see just the rampant rise that we had, 19% up yesterday, up another over 2% today. Going to probably take on this most recent high that we had. For Ethereum, we need to be watchful for that one. As the excitement dies down, that price action could also die down. Now, if Bitcoin does happen to take off and put in new all-time highs, that can also have us moving up pretty strongly for Ethereum. Even if it is delayed a little bit, we're going to have to watch and see what we get for that one. Remember that ETH also has a burn feature built into it, that the higher the demand goes up, the more burning off you have. So what you end up is a contracting supply is the idea that's behind it. And that should really, with that stronger demand come in, it should actually put some upward pressure on the price action itself, that demand gets, or supply gets cut as demand either holds constant or gets stronger. And that should be good for the price action to the upside. Moving over to Enphase, still narrowing of the Bollinger Bands right now. We have this little tiny part right here showing that the bulls are taking more and more ground against the bears. Right here we have the top of this thing. Every time we break over the 200, we can't seem to get over this trend line that's right here. We could be coming up on that moment as the RSI still continues to climb on a daily basis. We could be getting that pressure that allows us to finally pop. We're going to have to be watching for that. And I do want to just take a quick moment to talk about First Solar, because for their formation, if it's any influence at all that we would get for Enphase, this would actually go against that case, is that right now we're currently at the top of this. That could possibly set up a short opportunity if we get rejected there and head back down south. So from a swing trade perspective or a put option perspective for Solar, there's a little bonus for you, if you will. Moving over into Tesla. Tesla down a little bit in the pre-market hours, still above the 50-day. Got to hold on to that 50-day, by the way. Let me stretch that out there so we can see it a little bit better, and I'll collapse that so we really get a good view of this. So for Tesla, 171 is what we want to stay above, looking for that support there, and then getting a strong bounce off of that. Nvidia at $1,000 mark. We're up above 954 in the pre-market hours. We need to make it up above this trend line that you see here. Giving off the 1, 2, 3 peaks that we have, popping up above that's going to make it a lot easier to see that $1,000 stock price prediction come to fruition either before earnings or just after earnings. I think we're going to see that pop, to see those 4 figures come in, and it's just going to be a wild ride between today and the after hours tomorrow when they finally report their earnings. And then just 2 other bonuses for you. This is something I just started working on, and that one of them is GM, which happens to be at the bottom of this bullish channel, and we're also starting to see right across the tops of this RSI here, we're starting to see some bearish divergence, that the price action is heading up, but the momentum is heading down. I think there could be a short opportunity coming up for GM sometime soon that's going to have us coming down, retesting the 50, down about 3 to 5%. But even so, possibly even pushing down below that, maybe even in the near future, maybe throughout the summertime, we'll see. maybe if we end up falling out of this bullish channel, that we actually see a bit of a relaxation or a bearish time coming out of that. And then the other one that I'm working on right now is Capital One Financial, a little bit more bearish divergence that we have happening for this one. Now, mind you, this goes all the way back to this peak that's back here. And so we've been actually diverging for a long time as that price has been climbing up. And if I had to guess why we would see that happening, I would say it could be that risk of credit defaults, that even though late payments and delinquent payments are things that are good for credit companies such as Capital One Financial, if there's enough defaults, if there's enough of the give backs, so the fact that they just have to write off all their losses, that's something that can negatively impact their top and bottom lines, that they don't get that revenue coming in, and it certainly impacts their profit margins on the bottom of that. So guys, that's my commentary for the day, the technicals that you should be watching. If you want to see what I'm buying and selling, how I'm playing the market, you can check out the link down in the description for the Patreon, and then go on over to the Discord over there. That's where I post it, and also where I interact with my community members. And then also there's a link for a technical analysis trading course if you want to learn to do technical analysis like I do, and learn how to positively impact your portfolio through the power of technical analysis. You can do that using that link down in the description as well. As always, guys, I appreciate your time. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.